What up, YouTube? This is Lemmon at Large. I'm coming to you live at the Westwood Village Memorial Park Cemetery here in Westwood, California. I have a special guest with me today. I'm here with my sister. Say hi.
Hello.
Okay, so she does not want to be on camera. She doesn't do any social media. She doesn't do any of that. But she's going to talk about some of the graves that we're going to show you today. There's some famous people here, and this cemetery is actually, it's a very, very odd location. Nobody really knows it exists out here. No real signs or anything. This is a place that you would have to look up online to find. So without further ado, let's go show some graves.
Hello, hey, my name's Aaron Jones. I'm from Boise, Idaho, and I'm visiting Hugh Hefner and Marilyn Monroe. There's a story between them, but a lot of stories about Marilyn, of course. The interesting thing is these are off color compared to all the other ones. They tell me it's because her tombstone gets kissed a lot and they have to keep cleaning it off, so the chemicals have made it darker. Same a little bit with Hugh's. But anyway, they're together probably because Hugh Hefner purchased her nude photograph when he was starting Playboy magazine. And Playboy magazine hadn't got off the ground yet, but after he put that one on the cover, all of a sudden circulation jumped way up and the rest is history. Marilyn is one of the most interesting people I've ever read about. Never saw her, but I own a little house in Van Nuys, about a block from Van Nuys High School, and that's where she went to high school for a year, and it's kind of where she was discovered by a photographer who started taking photographs and started selling them, made her very popular, and of course the rest is history. The saddest story I've ever heard about Marilyn, which I believe was on YouTube or Netflix, a documentary about her death. They confirmed that not only John Kennedy had had a romance with her, but Robert Kennedy, and also Robert Kennedy was in her apartment, her condo, the day she died, backed up by the chief of police in LA, who they have the reports and everything because he and Peter Langford, they were racing through LA heading for the airport when they were stopped. But unfortunately, if you go to that documentary, you'll hear about why and how she died. Very, very sad story for a very young and vivacious lady. I think she's probably one of the greatest young ladies ever to come out of California, even though she had a very troubled childhood. So anyway, I relate to that. I was an orphan, a foster kid, and she was as well. We were both in orphanages. Not together, unfortunately, but we both were.
Right.
Anyway, I love her story, love her. Don't necessarily love him. From Boise, Idaho.
So I wanted to add to the story of what that gentleman previously speaking about Hugh Hefner and Marilyn Monroe. So this is Richard F. Poncho. He was buried here next to Marilyn Monroe. I'm not sure how much he paid to be buried here, but there is a legend that he was buried face down so he can quote-unquote keep an eye on Marilyn Monroe. Said online that Hugh Hefner paid $75,000 for his grave to be next to Marilyn Monroe. And of course, this is Elizabeth Elsie Poncho. I'm not sure if she's still living, but this is the wife of Richard Poncho, and she tried to sell his grave online because I guess she was having financial difficulties. So she had gotten some fake bids for $4 million. Of course, it turned out to be fake. Another one came in for $3 million and turned out to be fake. So as the story ends, he ended up keeping his spot, buried face down, so he can keep an eye on Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, that's a nice picture of her.
This is Chester Clarence Chang. He was 26 years old when he died. He died outside of a nightclub. He was trying to break up a fight between two Asian gangs. He was not a member of either gang, simply just trying to break up a fight, and unfortunately he was shot and killed. I'm not sure why, but I want to try to go find this man's parents, Forest Park, Illinois. If I ever get close to there, I'll definitely go look for them. In Hollywood, not even the dead would want to let you know how old they really are.
Irv Griffin was a musician and also a very famous evening personality, and I think afternoon personality. He had a broadcast, a TV show for many years, and introduced many people that were familiar with to the media.
And he was also, didn't he have like TV?
Oh,
like
yes,
TV game shows, right? He was the game show guy?
Well, I think he did some game shows too, yes. He was a very versatile individual who made a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. No, he was filthy rich. Oh, yeah.
He had some hotels. He did extraordinarily well, but he died too.
Yeah, they all die.
They all died.
This is Merv Griffin. I will not be right back after this message. So me and my sister are standing in front of legendary actress Farrah Fawcett. This is her grave right here. You want to talk a little bit about her, my sister?
Well, the most sad part that really broke my heart concerning Farrah Fawcett when she sadly got cancer, and she was known for her beautiful, beautiful hair, and that was one of the things she asked if they would be able to save her hair, and that just always stuck with me.
Yeah, she was just known, that iconic picture that was in everyone's bedroom as teenagers and young adults.
With the red bathing suit.
With the red bathing suit,
her
yeah.
Beautiful smile.
And you won't notice her birth date or death date on her stone, but she died literally, what was it, like the same day or 2 days before or after Michael Jackson?
Yeah, next to Michael Jackson.
And Michael Jackson, when he died, it pretty much took away any of the shine that Farrah Fawcett. Now, the media did report on her death, and, you know, of course, everyone did do the little montage of you know, what she's done in Hollywood and what have you, but Michael Jackson just took over the media when he died. And I won't forget where I was when I heard Michael Jackson died. I was working as a dishwasher at a restaurant, and I heard he died, and then she died right afterwards. But you really couldn't, you know, his death, you know, just like now, it just takes away from her death, which is really sad.
But we remember you, Farrah.
Yeah, we sure do. Farrah Fawcett, ladies and gentlemen. One of my favorite comedians of all time, Rodney Dangerfield. There goes the neighborhood. I met this guy when I was about 11 or 12 years old. Me and my friend, my friend lived in West Hollywood. We had a garage sale. He was getting rid of some stuff. And Rodney Dangerfield just comes out in this brand new Cadillac, no license plates on it, because Rodney Dangerfield obviously did not care. He probably just bought it off the dealer's showroom. So he comes out and he's just wearing like a flannel shirt and it's open. He has this big belly with a huge scar on it. The scar went from his chest down to his navel. And he comes out, he's like, "Hey, I'm looking for a belt." And my friend's like, "Oh yeah, I got a couple of belts over here." And he goes, he's like looking at belts. He goes, well, how much you want for this belt? And my friend said, "This one's 50 cents. He said, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of high, but he goes, I think I could afford that." Man, I was so starstruck. You know, I didn't ask him for his autograph or anything. I'm not like that, but I just thought it was awesome that, you know, I would see this guy come on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson all the time, and I'm watching him right in front of my very eyes. Rodney Dangerfield, guys, right here.
That would have been terrible.
So this here is a legendary actor, Jack Lemmon. Now, I know Jack Lemmon, I believe, from Two Grumpy Old Men with Walter Matthau. But where do you know him from?
Some Like It Hot with Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, and remember, you made me watch that stupid movie. I wanted to watch cartoons, but
Really?
You wanted to yes.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, you made me watch that movie, Some Like It Hot, with Jack Lemmon and Marilyn Monroe. I did watch it. I don't watch movies, but it was a good movie.
See?
So he's been in many, many movies. Jack Lemmon, ladies and gentlemen.
Jack.
So this is legendary TV actor Carroll O'Connor. My sister, forgive her, she doesn't really know who he is, but she will know him as playing Archie Bunker.
Oh.
Yes, that's who he was. This is Archie Bunker.
Everybody knows Archie. Archie!
Exactly. And he also played a police officer on In the Heat of the Night.
Yeah. Well, I know him now.
Yeah, so, yeah, see, and it's not that my sister doesn't know. It's like everyone thinks of him as Archie Bunker. No one really talks about his real name. So I thought that was interesting when my sister didn't know his name. But we all know him as Archie Bunker.
Archie!
Rest easy, Archie.
Yeah, Archie.
This here is Sam Simon. Of course, you can see the little Bart Simpson and the dog. This is one of the creators of the Simpsons TV cartoon. I remember this man was a very, very big philanthropist when it came to animals. Very, very big animal guy. I want to say I don't remember him having a family. And when he died, he was worth a lot of money. I want to say, I'm not going to Google it. I'm just going to go off my memory. I believe he died of cancer. And he knew he was dying of cancer, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say he left damn near his whole fortune to different animal rescues or animal organizations. The legendary Sam Simon, creator of, or one of the creators of The Simpsons. Okay, we are standing at the grave of Natalie Wood. This is one of my sister's favorite actresses of all time. I remember her picture being hung up in our room that we shared when we were children. There's been often a lot of stories about how she died. Robert Wagner was her husband, known within the Hollywood community to be a raging alcoholic. I used to hang out at a liquor store, and this guy told me he would come in every day and buy 2 fifths of vodka every day.
I didn't know that.
She died, what, of drowning?
Yeah, but her death is like a mystery because they say that they think he had something to do with it, and they drink a lot that night of her death. Sadly, we love you, Natalie, and she was always afraid of water, and that's how she drowned since she was a little girl.
Yeah, she's very pretty. This here's Terry Leslie McQueen. You might recognize her last name. She's the daughter of Steve McQueen. She died very, very young. She was only 39. She died of respiratory failure. This is Prince Oliver von Anhalt. He is the adopted son of Zsa Zsa Gabor and her last husband, Frederick von Anhalt. He died on the same day that she did. He died in a motorcycle accident. I remember their story being kind of odd because they adopted him as a son when he was already a grown man. The legendary Haide. Okay, so we're in the front of the grave of Dorothy Stratten. I'd never even heard of her. Can you talk a little bit about her?
Yeah, Dorothy Stratten was she had modeled for Playboy and became famous and made it big through the centerfold. And sadly, her husband, who was the person that sent her picture to Playboy, that's how she became famous and stuff. And of course, she wanted to leave the husband because he was very controlling and probably abusive. And sadly, when she did leave him, she ended up having an affair with a director of a movie that she was in. And when she went to go, see her husband to try to break away, he ended up sadly killing her. Shot her, raped her, and shot her also in the head with a shotgun. So she was just a very extremely beautiful woman and would have made it famous.
She's only 20 years old too, very young.
Yeah, very beautiful.
The legendary Haide, Iran's foremost singer, dedicated 23 years of her brief life to Iran's music. Her unique voice will remain a part of the cultural history of her nation. So this is the grave of Bob Crane. He played on Hogan's Heroes, and he's buried along with Sigrid Valdez. She was also on the TV show. She was very, very attractive. So I know Bob Crane from the basically from the murder, from him getting killed. He got killed in Arizona in the late 70s. They never did catch the killer. And I'm not going to repeat the whole sordid story of supposedly who he was and what he did. But I am going back to Phoenix, so I'll try to find the location of where he was killed. But he was bludgeoned to death, I believe, with a metal pipe. Together forever. Queen of pinups, Betty Mae Page. She was probably the most famous pinup model of all time. And you were telling me the other day, she didn't even know she was famous?
Yeah, she didn't know she was famous. She became famous, really famous again back, I guess, in the late 90s it started.
And then she became a born-again Christian.
Born-again Christian. So
and she kind of left that whole scene. But
yeah,
little did she know that her picture became such a very iconic style. And
yeah.
she is the, she's kind of like
But it was like the B movies, is that what they call it? The B movies. So she was famous in that.
Yeah.
You know, which was looked down upon back in the 50s and everything. So she was ahead of her time.
And how did people, didn't her fans get money together to bury her?
Yes, they did, yeah. They paid for this beautiful
that's awesome.
place that they put Betty Page in.
And her birthday will be coming up here pretty soon.
Yeah.
Betty Page,
oh my goodness.
Queen of Pinup.
That's right.
How could I leave this place without stopping by to say goodbye to the legendary comedian, actor extraordinaire, Don Knotts. When I was 5 years old, I used to live in West Hollywood, and my neighbor across the street, she was a dancer on the TV show Solid Gold. She was dating this guy at the time, so every now and then I would see him pull up to my dingy apartment, walk across the street, and pick up his girlfriend, Sandy. He used to drive an old, long Lincoln Town car. And surprisingly enough, he kind of dressed sort of like Mr. Furley. He played on Three's Company, of course. People will know him more for being Barney Fife on the Andy Griffith Show. But I know him from being Mr. Furley on Three's Company. Jack, what are you doing here? This guy was funny, one of the funniest TV characters of all time. The legendary Don Knotts, guys. Rest in peace, Don. Okay, guys, that was a quick tour of the hidden celebrity cemetery here in Westwood, California. Hope you enjoyed the video. Anyways, coming to you live, but not live, but still alive. Me and my sister, by the grace of God.
Thank you, God.
I am Lemmon at large. Thank you for watching.